Welcome back to Old School Sports and episode number 12 of our new adventure with Pro Wrestling Sim. Appreciate everyone who's watching, appreciate the recent advice on how we should potentially proceed with this wild world of wrestling promotion from both Jack and Katie St. Clair. Always helpful to hear from viewers, so if you have any thoughts, I would love to hear them. Those of you who are newer to the channel would love a thumbs up to our videos, and if you're enjoying what you see, a subscription. Although Pro Wrestling Sim is a new adventure for us, our core competency, so to speak, has been out of the park baseball videos, and over the years we've also had different adventures in franchise hockey manager, football manager, front office football, and tennis manager. So you never know what we are going to do next, but do sincerely appreciate everyone who watches the channel. We've had two cards since our last show, a couple of smaller shows here in the month of October. You may remember that we had enhanced our healthcare benefits to our wrestlers and also hired some additional back office staff at the end of the last episode, so our costs are going to go up significantly. Hopefully we can keep some good momentum going here over the last quarter of 2023 and head into 2024 in even better financial shape and with even better popularity than we have right now. Popularity of the promotion stands at 34.5 right now. As I mentioned, we've done a couple of smaller shows since the last episode. Did a show in New Jersey with about 1,500 people in attendance. Alani Hernandez and Ricky Babylon, respectively, retained the women's and men's tag singles championships. Moving on to an event we held in Washington, D.C., had the women's tag team championship retained by Pain Train, Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez, and another defense of the men's championship by Ricky Babylon. Mentioned that we do have three bigger shows in a row coming up, so hoping to come closer and closer to selling out a 2,500 person venue at these big events. Our main live event in October, 7 days away, followed by the Halloween Horror Show, and then our main live event in November. So we've been focused on trying to keep backstage morale high with the additional benefits that we provided and with the removal of some problematic personalities. We are at a point now where morale is excellent backstage, so hopefully we can keep that going. Do have some issues medically since the last time we checked in, though. At our last event, both Rodrigo Schmidt and Elias David, who's one of our key heels, suffered some injuries. Rodrigo Schmidt will be back in mid-November, but unfortunately Elias David is going to be out for about 6 months with a tricep injury. Joaquin Sullivan, who had suffered a neck injury in the previous episode, still going to be out for about 14 months, given that we are on a pay-per-appearance contract with him, and he's not the most important wrestler in the promotion. We are actually going to release him from the contract, save some benefits money going forward. Yes, we are heartless and focused totally on the bottom line. But we will move on from Joaquin Sullivan. We did, with the fact that we do have a couple of key heel wrestlers still on the mend, with both David and Schmidt injured, bring a new wrestler on board recently, and we're going to be starting a storyline with him very shortly. That's Ryan Mooney. Very good wrestling skill, pretty good entertainer as well. He was actually in the very prominent GCW promotion. He left there just yesterday, actually, so we've got him signed to a pay-per-appearance contract. I tend to think he will probably end up getting signed to a more formal contract with someone else down the line, but for the time being, he is a very high-quality wrestler. $302 per appearance. And as I noted, we're going to get a storyline going with him. Got the existing storyline still going with some of the women wrestlers, some of our key heels trying to chase down Ricky Babylon, Keith Yates and Judah Horn going back and forth with the Head Knockers, Kason Hughes and Jordan Cunningham for the Tag Team Championship, and Ryan Mooney taking his sights on both Julius Dyer and Marvin McNeil as he tries to work his way up through the worldwide wrestling promotion to eventually perhaps get a shot at Ricky Babylon. Mentioned that we've got 3 big shows in a row coming up in an effort to ensure that most of the talent remains happy. We really focused hard on ensuring that just about everyone would be fighting in at least 2 of these matches. In some cases, there will be wrestlers who are involved in all 3. The only wrestlers who ended up being involved in just a single match of the next 3 are Garrett Carter, simply because at $2,000 per appearance he's so expensive. But given the injuries that I mentioned to David and Schmidt and Sullivan, felt that it's still important to get him some work. And then the only other wrestler who's only going to be in a single show is Marissa Wynn. We have a limited number of women's wrestlers in the promotion, making it a little harder to guarantee them all a lot of activity. So she's only going to be in one of the next 3 performances, but still hope to keep some good momentum going. 3 big shows in a row, as I mentioned. The hope is that maybe we eventually get a sellout at a 2,500 seat arena. We'll see whether or not we can do that in these next few weeks. And I mentioned that we just brought Ryan Mooney on board in a pay-per-appearance contract because he had left the larger promotion of GCW. Unfortunately, it looks like Elias David has been offered a contract by them. As I noted, he's out with an injury right now. But my hunch is that with that exclusive contract he's signed with them, we are going to be probably losing the services of him. He hasn't been with us all that long, but has had a pretty prominent role in the promotion for us this year. You can see 11 wins, 10 losses, and a draw this year. So he's been a very important part of what we've been trying to do. Perhaps makes it even more important that we brought Ryan Mooney on board. We'll see whether he's willing to keep that pay-per-appearance relationship with us. But my hunch is that, well, he does. He did leave GCW. Yeah, my hunch is that exclusive contract is ultimately going to mean that he probably has wrestled his last match with us. Not critical right now because obviously he's out for the next 6 months with that triceps injury. But feel like we did have some momentum going with him, so it's unfortunate if his career is going to be ending soon. And we can see the contract expiry is now in just 12 days because of what he's agreed to. See if we can keep an informal agreement going with him. The price would go up to $825 per appearance. It looks like he will continue the relationship with us. So I guess the exclusive contract that he agreed to is perhaps not actually so exclusive. And a big event today. We've already got the card set, pending any injuries or title changes for these next 3 shows. As I mentioned, put a fair amount of thought into things. 3 championship matches today, the Women's Championship, the Men's Tag Team Championship, and the Men's Championship with Ricky Babylon knocking out Garrett Carter. Given that he's so expensive, we don't mind if we negatively impact his popularity from time to time since we're not going to be using him as much. Did mention that we will be having a contract signing with Ryan Mooney, and then we're going to do some promotional activities before a busy card gets underway. Good reaction to the signing of Ryan Mooney, and an outstanding reaction to a higher production quality video we put together highlighting some of the major wrestlers. Introductions before a match between Kierstan Holloway and Marissa Wynn. The match itself, only a 46% score, so not incredibly productive there. Kierstan Holloway gets the win over Marissa Wynn. As I mentioned, this is the only time we'll see Marissa win over these next 3 matches. And actually, this first of the 3 cards is the only time that we'll see Garrett Carter also. Moving on to the next segment, dud of a match between Valentino Ballard and Mark Cannon, a couple of wrestlers who we don't use all that frequently, so perhaps not a surprise that the match was not all that great, but certainly hopefully we'll get some better results going forward. Mayhem versus C Squared, Colby Tyler and Colby Hendricks get the victory over the tag team rivals of theirs. Introductions ahead of a championship bout between Anastasia Romero and Alani Hernandez. Looking forward to seeing what, if anything, comes out of that. We did include this promotion as part of the main show to hopefully give the score a little bit of a boost. We knew that some of those other matches probably weren't going to be as well received, since we're trying to give a lot of our wrestlers some extra activity here before we get closer to the end of the year. Alani Hernandez, a dud of a match, but she does retain her championship against Anastasia Romero. Ryan Mooney, the new kid in town, beats Julius Dyer. The workers had them in a match, since they both have pretty good wrestling skill, trying to steal the show, and they did up their game, provided 3.5-star match quality, 67% score overall. So a nice introduction to the promotion for Ryan Mooney, who, as we've talked about, probably going to be playing a pretty prominent role as a heel for us going forward. The men's tag team championship, the Head Knockers, Kason Hughes and Jordan Cunningham, defend their title against the good guys, Keith Yates and Judah Horn. Last but not least, Ricky Babylon and Garrett Carter. Match quality not incredibly high, but still a high score given their star power. Ricky Babylon made to look like a threat in the match, which really helped his popularity. Nice to see. As I mentioned, we're going to have Garrett Carter with a loss today, and he won't be wrestling again in these next 2 events. Some promotional materials before we finish things up. Interview of Ricky Babylon and Samara Lester by Jeffrey Weeks on a number of different topics. Pretty strong reaction there. 50% show rating with better production. We could have been a 70. I think this is the first time that we've ever hit that threshold. Starting to have some of our higher quality angles in the middle of the show rather than in the pre-show or the post-show will probably help us boost those scores going forward once we get to a point where we're not capped at 50, but don't think that resolving that is necessarily in our immediate future, but we're going to keep working towards bigger and better things for the promotion, whether it's potential for higher show scores with bigger investments in production values, and hopefully ultimately also having an opportunity to have some TV contracts going forward. But we're not at the point where anybody wants to be showing the wild world of wrestling on TV quite yet. Hoping that as we push up towards 40 popularity and move from a more regional promotion into one that's more substantive, we can make some progress there. 2,473 ticket sales, so the closest we've ever come to selling out a 2,500 seat venue. As I noted, the hope is maybe one of these next 2 matches will finally get to that point, although with 3 title matches in the event that we just held, it's going to be hard for us to do something more than that. And just 1 match into his career with us, Ryan Mooney also already asking for a push. We will agree to that promise with him. We brought him in as an upper mid-card performer, but given his skill set and given some of the injuries and uncertainty we have around some of our top heels, the kind of anticipated that we'd be hopefully building up his popularity and having him involved prominently. So we'll certainly push him to the top of the card sometime over these coming weeks and months. And as we move forward towards our big Halloween event, push request from Colby Tyler. We've already pushed him once to the upper mid-card. He's looking to be part of the main event. Honestly, he's just not that important to us. We're going to reject that promise, not make a promise that we're unwilling to keep. Probably won't be happy with it, but he's just not all that important of a wrestler to the promotion when all is said and done. Want to maintain some standards around who is considered a main event wrestler and who is not, even if it does upset some people. And we've simmed ahead now to the big Halloween horror show. Again, a 2,500 capacity venue here in Connecticut. Potential attendance may not be quite as big as last time around. A couple of championship matches here today. Both the women's and the men's tag team championships will be wrestled for. A number of angles also as we try to keep some momentum going here with the wild world of wrestling promotion. Introductions before a match between Anastasia Ramiro and Kirsten Holloway. Anastasia Ramiro with the victory. Decent match quality, gets to a 50% final score for us, which, as we know, is where we're capped out. Colby Tyler and Corey McKee, another match that got us right to 50%. Colby Tyler, who we just refused to give a bump in terms of a push, does get the victory over Corey McKee. Colby Tyler's frequent tag team partner on C Squared, Colby Hendricks, going to get a single match against Xander Berry now. Only 46% score there now. Xander Berry's performance worse than usual, although he did get the victory. As I mentioned, some of these matches here are not necessarily going to probably be as high quality as we'd like them to be, since we are consciously going out of our way to give equal opportunity to most of the wrestlers in the promotion over these 3 big shows. Moving on next, introductions before a title match between the American Girls and Pain Train. Very strong reaction to that. The match itself, Pain Train, Alani Hernandez, and Gia Valdez do retain their championship. Match quality actually fairly low, unfortunately, and a low score for that match. Hopefully we can do better with some of these last few going forward. Judah Horn and Malcolm McKnight face off. Pretty good match quality there. Malcolm McKnight with the victory. Kyle Howard and Keith Yates. Keith Yates gets the victory over Kyle Howard. Not the greatest quality match that we've ever had. Last but not least, another tag team championship match between the defending champion Head Knockers, the former champions, the M&M Boys, and the Head Knockers, Kason Hughes and Jordan Cunningham, do successfully retain their title. 51% score for that match. Last but not least, Ricky Babylon going to set up a match between Ryan Mooney and Marvin McNeil. That goes over reasonably well. And then a big promotional video ahead of our next event to kind of keep the momentum of some storylines going. Go ahead and end the show. Scored 50. Our max was only 55, so definitely a lower quality show overall than the big 3W live event for the month of October last week, but still a solid result. And we've got just a handful of days now until we get to the 3W live event for the month of November. Attendance 2458 for Halloween Horror, so ended up doing real well. Ticket sales strong there. I'll take a look at our storylines here. Still strong momentum for the We Want a Chance at a Title line involving Elias David, Garrett Carter, and Kyle Howard. Obviously, Ricky Babylon just defeated Kyle Howard, no, that wasn't a match involving Ricky Babylon. This was his day off. I think he's going to be facing Kyle Howard in the next event in just a couple of days. Tag team turmoil with decent heat, and the new storyline with Julius Dyer, Ryan Mooney, and Marvin McNeil has some momentum. As we talked about, we've got a match between Mooney and McNeil sent up as well. Take a look at how the finances look, and rough month for us in October. Mentioned that we've upped our costs significantly. You can see the medical costs way higher, the back office costs way higher, and we end up losing $18,000 despite the fact that merchandise sales got a nice bump when we did set up that back office. So we knew the medical costs were going to be significant. Hopefully, given that our ticket sales in October were much lower. Oh, it looks like maybe, I was wondering how we lost that much money, but it looks like the ticket sales, since the summary did not come in until the day after the event, looks like we may end up having a very big month of November. So if that were the case, it looks like we probably still would have made some money in the month of October. So we'll see how the month of November goes, but it looks like the figures from last night's show are actually not hitting the income statement until today. So hopefully that's a sign that we've got a big month of November ahead of us, and we'll offset the losses that we experienced in October because of the more significant benefits that we're giving to our wrestlers and the bigger investment we're making in trying to build this promotion going forward. And getting ready now for our third big event in a row, the 3W Live event in November, the Women's Singles Championship and the Men's Singles Championship. Both will be on the line. Ricky Babylon will beat Kyle Howard. We talked about that already after our last matches. And Isabella Baxter facing off against Alani Hernandez. Got some good feedback from Jack and Katie St. Clair as far as the methodology by which winners are determined. I think I am going to need to perhaps be a little more proactive in terms of not just having automatic results all the time, because it does seem that even if a team or a wrestler is only a little better than their opponents, they're pretty much always going to win unless you script it otherwise. So have to maybe get a little more active in terms of determining some winners as we continue to try to build some storylines going forward. Trying to contribute to the storylines. We've got a no DQ match between Keith Yates and Kaysen Hughes, who have been fighting frequently as part of that tag team turmoil storyline, and also a first blood match between Marvin McNeil and Ryan Mooney, who are part of that new King of the Ring storyline. Introductions involving Gia Valdez and Emma Banks, pretty solid reaction there. The match itself, unfortunately, not that great a score. Hopefully we can make up some ground on that low 42% score through the rest of this card. Class Act versus Thunder and Lightning. Julius Dyer and Valentino Ballard record the victories over Mark Cannon and Malcolm McKnight. Overall score, though, not that inspiring. Josue Melton versus Jordan Cunningham. This one definitely went better, higher match quality. Josue Melton had asked us for an opportunity to face off against Jordan Cunningham. Cunningham, part of the championship tag team gets a victory in the singles match. Keith Yates and Kason Hughes mentioned that this was going to be a no DQ match, and solid, if unspectacular, result with Yates beating Kason Hughes, who's the other half of our men's tag team champions right now. Introductions for the matchup between Isabella Baxter and Alani Hernandez get a good reaction. The match itself, solid. Alani Hernandez, of course, retains the women's championship. Marvin McNeil and Ryan Mooney facing off, and a pretty good reaction there. 61% score, although unfortunately it looks like they have bad chemistry against one another as opponents. So that's not optimal to try to keep that storyline active and well going forward. So maybe we'll add somebody else in there, and Ryan Mooney and Marvin McNeil will be facing off against each other less frequently. Last, but certainly not least, big score, 74%, as Ricky Babylon successfully retains the men's championship. Nice promotional video coming up. Get a 98% score there, trying to keep some strong momentum going with all of the storylines that we're currently involved in. 50% score, could have been as high as 65. We will end the show and find out if we're able to have gotten this one to 2,500 attendance. Promise of the match to Josue Milton, successful. 2,446 ticket sales. So we've definitely shown that we can get pretty close to sold out in those 2,500 seat venues over these last 3 shows, but still certainly have some work to do. The hope is that maybe Bash Friday, 3W Live in December, or the final event of the year, the 3W Jingle Bell Blast, will result in a sellout in a larger venue for us. But we'll find out the answer to that in the coming weeks and months. And we've only one run event since the last time we checked in, up in Augusta, Maine. Alani Hernandez defended her women's championship against Marissa Wynn. Finally, we were able to get another match for her. And then the Head Knockers defended their men's tag team championship against the Good Guys. Getting ready for our next matches today, and unfortunately, backstage morale, as you know, if you've been watching closely, has been very volatile of late. It's plunged from 99 just a couple of weeks ago to 79. I think that Mark Cannon and a number of negative relationships he has, most notably with Gia Valdez and Ricky Babylon, dating to a storyline that we had some time ago, is a pretty toxic personality at this point and not adding a ton to the promotion. It'll stink to lose another heel, although Rodrigo Schmidt is now back and healthy, so he'll be wrestling today as well. But ultimately, we're going to try to get Mark Cannon out of the promotion following a match today. We're going to have a men's championship match between Ricky Babylon and Mark Cannon. The goal is to make Ricky Babylon look good. Mark Cannon's manager, Kristen Schwartz, is going to try to interfere, but Ricky Babylon is still going to win by a knockout. Mark Cannon unhappy with the match. We're going to proceed anyways because following the match, Mark Cannon is going to be fired, and we'll see on the other side of this day of events whether or not that will result in better morale backstage for us. So we're going to go ahead get the show in Worcester started. Good introductions involving Valdez and Holloway, who we've made as a new tag team partner match just to reduce the burden a little bit on Alani Hernandez. Gia Valdez and Alani Hernandez are still the champions, but having Valdez occasionally wrestle with Kirsten Holloway will just give us a little more flexibility in scheduling. Isabella Baxter and Emma Banks, the American girls, do beat Valdez and Holloway. Next match, Josue Melton versus Corey McKee. Second straight match with not the greatest score in the world. Hopefully things will get better in these next 3 matches before the end of the show. A little bit better, Bash Brothers versus Class Act, and Class Act, Julius Dyer and Valentino Ballard with the victory. Marvin McNeil and Garrett Carter. It's rare that we use Garrett Carter except when he's fighting and losing to Ricky Babylon, but we decided we would suck it up, spend the big money to have Carter on board. Carter does get the victory over Marvin McNeil. These two have good chemistry as opponents and help the match quality, although it still was not incredible. Last but not least, the main event between Ricky Babylon and Mark Cannon. Good score there. Babylon retains the championship. Ricky Babylon furious at Mark Cannon after the attempted interference by his manager, Kristen Schwartz. Cannon fired from the promotion effective immediately, then run a big video trying to get some momentum, continued momentum for the storylines that we have going. Did get to a 50% score here, could have maxed out at 58. Obviously we won't sell out a 2,500 seat arena for these smaller shows, just over 1,500 in Worcester, and we are now checking on backstage morale. It's dipped to 78. We're going to see if perhaps removing Mark Cannon officially, releasing him, proceed with releasing the worker there, and looks like a small bump positively in terms of the backstage morale. Not the biggest move in the world, but still something. May look before the big Bash Friday event coming up to see if we can add another heel into the promotion, just to ensure that we've still got some options when putting together shows. And we're getting ready for 3W Bash Friday, the day after Thanksgiving 2023. Backstage morale has been bouncing back with the departure of Mark Cannon, so hopefully that will be a positive thing. Still have some negative relationships and personality conflicts, but hopefully things will get better. As I noted, we did go out and look for a new member of the promotion who we have on board with Juan Shepard. Have him joining us as a mid-card heel. Certainly when you look at his wrestling skill, his entertainment value, even his star power, at $120 appearance, have high hopes that we'll be able to push him up the card in the not too distant future, and it will give us another wrestler to hopefully build some storylines around. You'll see in our next show that we're going to try to get some stuff going. We've added Juan Shepard and Josue Melton to the existing new King of the Ring storyline. Ryan Mooney and Juan Shepard will ultimately be teaming up as a new tag team for us as well. And Bash Friday is going to be a big and expensive show. You can see potential attendance over 2,400, so maybe we will get our first sellout of a local large sports hall. Expensive show for us, but we will get things underway. The atmosphere backstage back to being great, not as wonderful as it has been at times. Contract signing, welcoming Juan Shepard to the 3W promotion, and Ryan Mooney is his sponsor. They've got a long-standing relationship with one another, and as I noted, they will be becoming a tag team for us in the not-too-distant future. First match of the day, C-Squared versus Mayhem. Colby Hendricks and Colby Tyler win over Xander Berry and Corey McKee. Next match, Josue Melton versus Juan Shepard. Juan Shepard makes his debut and gets the victory over Josue Melton. You'll see later on why we had Josue Melton involved. Both of them have been added to that storyline that we will hopefully continue to move forward in the coming months. Introductions ahead of the big tag team title match between Fire and Ice, Anastasia Romero and Marissa Wynn, and the Pain Train, Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez. Your tag team champions remain the Pain Train, Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez with the victory. Pretty good quality match, 3-star. That's probably one of the best women's tag team matches that we've had. The chemistry certainly helped. Incredible chemistry between Hernandez and Valdez, and good chemistry as partners versus Romero and Wynn, as keeping some of these tag teams together for an extended period of time, beginning to hopefully start paying dividends with some of the scores we're putting up. Next match, Julius Dyer against Ryan Mooney. They did aim to steal the show, and that upped their performance. But we did have a distraction at the end. We can't see it here, but our new addition, Juan Shepard, interfered in the match, helped Ryan Mooney to the victory over Julius Dyer. Very high match quality there. Those two could be an interesting matchup going forward. Last match of the day, the championship match between Ricky Babylon and Garrett Carter. Ricky Babylon successfully retains the championship. Angle post-match, Juan Shepard and Ryan Mooney talking some smack about how they're going to challenge anyone, and Josue Melton, who Juan Shepard just fought against, and his partner, Marvin McNeil, the M&M Boys, former tag team championships, answer the request. Last but not least, promotional video of some of the storylines going forward. The show is over, could have reached a score of 71, so that's, I believe, as high as we've ever gotten, although we're still, unfortunately, capped at a score of 50. Find out if we did finally sell out a large arena. Gia Valdez raising her booking fee. And we did finally sell out 2,500 tickets for the Bash Friday event. So the next step will be potentially an even more expensive arena. Certainly won't be considering that in Syracuse on December 1st. But for the 3W Live event in December, or the Jingle Bell Blast before we take some time off for the holidays, maybe an opportunity for us to try to generate some additional revenues. We'll find out how we did with the 4 shows in November, as well as the residue of that show in October in a few days when the calendar flips to December. And like Ryan Mooney, Juan Shepard, certainly coming in with high expectations, wants to compete for a title match before the 28th of January. We'll make that promise to him. Doesn't give us a ton of time to do it, but given that we are working on a storyline with Mooney and Shepard as a potential tag team, we could also potentially do some scripting of some tag team championships and give them an opportunity there if we're not quite ready to let Shepard take on Ricky Babylon quite yet. And we've simmed ahead a few days to December, so let's take a look at where the finances stand, and with the fact that income from 5 shows flowed through in the month of November, by far the most profitable month we've ever had, earning almost $80,000, despite the fact, as we noted, that our back office and our medical fees have increased significantly, as well as our travel budget. Sounds like since we kind of missed a show in October as far as the financials, and we had an extra one in November, that even with the additional expenses now involved, we should be able to generate a profit, even if it's not necessarily as big as what we were doing over the summer. Positive to see that sponsorships continue to grow, and merchandise sales were actually down just a bit from last month, but still pretty strong. As I noted, 3 events left in the year, a smaller show in Syracuse, and then the big 3W Live in December, and the Jingle Bell Blast before we finish things up for the year. Looks like popularity is about 36 right now, so unlikely to get to 40 before the end of the year, but still think it's been a pretty productive fall for the Wild World of Wrestling promotion. And just 3 cards left for the Wild World of Wrestling here in 2023 as we begin the month of December. Going to be a lot going on, starting to get a little more aggressive scripting some of our matches. We are going to have some turnover in the Women's Tag Team Championship today. The American Girls, who have been involved in a storyline chasing the title owned by the Pain Train, finally going to get the win today. Alani Hernandez, who has been the Women's Tag Team Champion and the Women's Singles Champion since basically we started off those belts at the beginning of this series, unhappy with this segment. Actually, what's going to happen, and can show you this when we get into the script here, is that Isabella Baxter is going to get Gia Valdez to submit. The purpose of the show is to embarrass Gia Valdez, although she's been an important wrestler for us. There is the potential that embarrassing someone publicly like that may improve their personality. And when we look at our backstage morale, Gia Valdez is kind of the one person left still working for us that has some pretty significant conflicts with people. So hoping that perhaps a little bit of public comeuppance and embarrassment may improve her relationship with others, make her a little bit humble. We'll see what happens. We will likely be wrapping up the storyline, We Want Your Title, after they claim the title here. Also conceivable that we'll wrap up the very strong heat storyline between Elias David, Garrett Carter, Kyle Howard, and Ricky Babylon before the end of the year as well. So relatively small show here in Syracuse to start off the month, expecting about 1,600 people there. Not the most expensive show either. Atmosphere backstage is great, but not as great as it has been. Introductions ahead of the championship bout, pretty favorable, so that is good news. First match of the day, Anastasia Romero beats Kirsten Holloway. Next match, Julius Dyer defeats Kyle Howard. Dyer's become a increasingly important wrestler for us, still struggling to develop some of our heels. Kyle Howard was someone who we brought on board, had big expectations for, honestly has not made much of an impact thus far. Championship match here, Isabella Baxter and Emma Banks, the American Girls, are your new 3W Women's Tag Team Champions. Match quality was not great. Gia Valdez, her popularity does go down. Bump for Isabella Baxter. A new tag team, the New Kids on the Block, Ryan Mooney and Juan Shepard, win their debut match against the M&M Boys. Mooney and Shepard, two new heels associated with the 3W promotion, who are off to a pretty strong start, both in singles matches and now on the tag team side. Final match of the day, Keith Yates defeats Kason Hughes. Decent score there. Interview done by Ricky Babylon and Samara Lester with Emma Banks and Isabella Baxter about finally winning the championship, and their thoughts in Gia Valdez and Alani Hernandez gets a good score. And then last but not least, promos for some upcoming events, previewing some of the big matches that we have coming up at the final 2 shows of the year. So capped out with our 50% score. We'll see what attendance ended up looking like, and then we can sim forward to the 3W Live. Promise to Keith Yates. We promised him main event. That's why he was in the final match of the day yesterday. And less than 1,500 ticket sales, so a little less than I'd hoped, but admittedly it was not our strongest card. And we ended the storyline involving the American Girls and Pain Train minor bumps to popularity. 1 point bump in Alani Hernandez popularity to 19. Emma Banks did not improve her popularity, stayed at 9. Gia Valdez got a 1 point bump to 11, and Isabella Baxter 1 point bump to 8 popularity. So a lot of work on that storyline over the years, but very modest increases in popularity, but still better than nothing. And as we get ready for our main event of the month, 3W Live in December, still hopeful that eventually we will reach capacity again at a local large sports hall. If we think about changing the venue to a small arena, doubling our capacity to 5,000, you can see it costs about 16,000 to do that, and not really seeing where it's going to do anything with the potential attendance at this point. So makes sense to be a little more conservative, spend a little less money. A big card ahead of us for the big show. Alani Hernandez, who has lost the women's tag team championship, now along with Gia Hernandez, will be putting her women's championship for singles on the line today. The men's tag team championship is going to turn. The Good Guys going to knock off the Head Knockers, Judah Horn with a flash pinfall, and Ricky Babylon will defend his title later on today successfully against Garrett Carter. Introductions before a match between Anastasia Romero and Alani Hernandez get a good reaction. Dud of a match between Kirsten Holloway and Marissa Wynn, unfortunately. Solid match between Rodrigo Schmidt and Colby Hendricks. Rodrigo Schmidt with the victory. He's recovered from that injury that kept him out back in October into November at this point. Women's championship match. Alani Hernandez defends her title against Anastasia Romero, although Hernandez's performance worse than usual. Class Act versus New Kids on the Block, and the New Kids on the Block, Ryan Mooney and Juan Shepard, with another tag team victory as they continue to build up their reputations. Would expect to see some more singles action from both of them in 2024. Kyle Howard with a victory over Colby Tyler, still trying to get some momentum for him as a wrestler in the promotion. Good Guys versus the Head Knockers, and the Good Guys, as we noted, are your new 3W Men's Tag Team Champions. Pretty high quality match, 60% score there. Got some promotion activity going on. Basically, it was an interview of Keith Yates and Judah Horn on their victory, claiming the tag team championship. Malcolm McKnight defeats Marvin McNeil in a match. Decent score for that as well. And last but certainly not least, the men's championship, Ricky Babylon with a victory over Garrett Carter, 82% score. So the star power of Ricky Babylon certainly added to that match. Promotions for the final event of the year, a nice, relatively high quality production video, gets a great reaction from the audience as we continue to move forward to the final event of the year. Just a week left at this point, and final card of the year, the Jingle Bell Blast, and then a little time off until 2024 begins with the New Year's Bash. Only 2,231 tickets sold yesterday, so not as strong a performance as we had hoped, but it is what it is at this point. And one of our stronger and newer wrestlers, Ryan Mooney, already increasing his booking fee by about 20% to $363 per appearance from just over $300 an appearance. The Jingle Bell Blast, the final show of the year today. The Good Guys new tag team champions, going to be defending their title against the Bash Brothers. And then Ricky Babylon will be taking on Kason Hughes for the men's championship. Oh, and I need to cut 14 minutes to proceed, so I'll have to figure out how to do that. Can certainly move some matches to the pre-show. Didn't realize I had been so sloppy in my preparations there. Expecting once again close to a capacity crowd here in New York for the Jingle Bell Blast. Atmosphere backstage is great. Right about where we were when we started this month of December. Final card of the year, and Jordan Cunningham defeats Valentino Ballard. Anytime we can get a 50%-ish score from some of these introductory singles matches with people that aren't typically at the top of the card, it's a good thing. Cunningham and Ballard, pretty bad chemistry, so probably won't be having them face off again. Emma Banks with a victory over Kirsten Holloway in a match that was not particularly high quality. Julius Dyer and Juan Shepard, though, did put on a good show. Comedy went over. They both have pretty high entertainment scores. They've got a good feud going on a storyline, high match quality, and a good score. Dyer gets the victory over Shepard. Isabella Baxter with a victory over Gia Valdez. Hopefully, again, a little more humbling for Gia Valdez. This one, I believe, was also scripted, and we're really hoping that some of the negative interactions that she has with other wrestlers will happen less frequently. If not, might be time to part ways with her to help overall morale at the wild world of wrestling. Mayhem versus C Squared. C Squared with a victory. A lot of people with worse performances than expected. However, some of these scores have not been great so far. Hoping we can finish up strong and at least get to a 50% score for this final show of the year, since this is the last one we're going to have. Nice recovery from Ryan Mooney and Josue Melton. Mooney with the victory. At some point in the not too distant future, would think that he could be getting title shots against Ricky Babylon. Men's Tag Team Championship. The good guys defend their title over the Bash Brothers. Keith Yates and Judah Horn defeating Kyle Howard and Rodrigo Schmidt. Very strong result in this match. Incredible chemistry by Yates and Horn. Good chemistry for Howard and Schmidt. Judah Horn helps everyone learn the segment. 3.5-star match quality and a 58% score. Final match of the year, Ricky Babylon taking on Kason Hughes. 74% match. They aim to steal the show, which got a good reaction from people. Both of them have pretty good wrestling skill. Good match quality, good score. And we'll finish up the year with a promotion on some of the big storylines that we might have going on next year. Among the heels, Alani Hernandez, Elias David once he's healthy once again, and Ryan Mooney should be getting some attention. Ricky Babylon and his manager Samara Lester, Judah Horn, and Keith Yates may be some people to build some storylines around in 2024. End the show and let everyone enjoy the next couple of weeks before we come back together. The Jingle Bell Blast, 2,351 tickets, so did not quite get to a sellout, but we'll be starting with the New Year's Bash on January 1st. We're going to have our first show in Canada, as we're going to try to go international, although our popularity is North American focused, so no real changes there. The big 3W live show on January 20th, and smaller show in New York City at the end of the month. But these January shows will all be in our next episode. We're just going to finish up the year, check out what our finances look like, and see where we stand as far as any end of year awards when we sim through these last couple weeks of the month of December. And with the end of the year coming close, we're going to also close out this storyline of David, Carter, and Howard chasing Ricky Babylon for the title. Really good heat for this segment over the course of the year. We'll check in quickly on where all of those guys stand in terms of their popularity to see if we make any improvements. Elias David, 48 popularity for him. We'll see whether we can get a little bit pop, although he's been injured for a while at this point. Garrett Carter at 63 before ending the storyline. Kyle Howard at just 18, certainly the least popular member of this storyline. And Ricky Babylon at 94. We'll see if we can make progress with any of them. We will go ahead and end this storyline as well. Confirm that as we get closer to the end of the year. See if we made any progress. Elias David still at 48. Garrett Carter still at 63. Kyle Howard still at 18, and Ricky Babylon at 94. So it doesn't look like we really did anything there. Maybe we need to sim forward a day just to make sure. But had a lot of heat with that storyline, and it had been basically going on all year. So a little disappointing that can't really see anything as far as the popularity of the different wrestlers that were involved. But those are the breaks, unfortunately. And we're closing in on the end of the year, New Year's Eve, getting ready for a big show to start next year. Backstage morale has improved to 93, so things are really feeling good backstage at this point. Just the two active storylines, Tag Team Turmoil and the new King of the Ring, will likely start some additional storylines early next year. I would have to think that at least one of them will be involving Ricky Babylon to take advantage of all of his skills. Looking at some awards for the year, the match of the year. A lot of 4-star matches, which we didn't have, but we did have some 3.5-star matches. Let's see if any of them got high enough scores to be on the list. Our old buddy Trace Henson involved in a very successful match over in the ARC promotion. Ricky Babylon and Garrett Carter back on October 23rd got an 82% score there. Also on December 8th, the match between the two of them got an 82% score. So those were the 17th and 18th ranked matches of the year. Babylon and Carter also ranked number 21 and number 22 on the list of the highest rated matches over the course of the year. And then an Elias David match also ranked in the 30s. Jordan Cunningham in October. Also can see a common theme here. Matches involving Ricky Babylon are the only way that we have world-class type of success. But pretty good representation for us among the top 50. Our old buddy Ryan Mooney, working for GCW, had a big match also, so hopefully we can get a little more diversification there. Angles of the year, mentioned that we've spent a lot of money on higher quality videos, and you can see that our promotion is pretty dominant in being able to achieve very high scores with some of the videos that we put out there. So we're doing the best that we can with some of the angles we put on board, but certainly dominant in that area of the rankings for 2023. Wrestler of the year looks like Ricky Babylon with an average segment score of 84 is just going to edge out Garrett Carter. Don't know whether we're going to have anyone else. Ryan Mooney, I think this is primarily from work that he's done for other promotions, but he's also in the top 10. Elias David ranks 19th, so that's good to see. Definitely starting to make a little bit of progress with some of the shows that we've been putting on. Keith Yates ranks 35th in terms of his overall average score. Former wrestler Trace Henson, 42nd. Men's Wrestler of the Year, Babylon Edges Carter. Women's Wrestler of the Year, Alani Hernandez, ranked second, behind only Riley Young. Her tag team partner, Gia Valdez, third. Anastasia Romero, seventh. Emma Banks, eighth. Isabella Baxter, ninth. So we put together a lot of strong segments with them. Marissa Wynn ranks 11th overall. So definitely have done some damage there. Kirsten Holloway ranks 20th. So I think all of the women wrestlers in our promotion among some of the top wrestlers. Promotion of the year, we do end up edging our way into the top 10 with an average event score of 49 over the 41 events that we put on. You can see most of the promotions ahead of us look like they put on 64 events a year. In the case of Alpha Pro Wrestling, 116. So maybe we'll have to up our game with a few more shows next year. Show of the year, not expecting that we're going to be on this list since our maximum show score is 50. So unfortunately, still have some work to do before we're going to show up on the top of the show of the year list. And the new year begins with Alani Hernandez upping her booking fee. Backstage morale still where we thought it was. Take a look before we finish things up at the finances, and we're just barely profitable in the month of December. So we have proven that with the much higher expenses that we have going forward for our medical coverage and the enhanced back office, that we can still make some money, but definitely not as easy to make as we were through the spring and summer. But ultimately still small loss in October, very good month in November, and then a very small profit in the month of December. But the balance sheet is still moving in the right direction. The income statement still generally profitable. So feeling like we continue to make some progress with the 3W promotion, still a regional promotion at this point. We have gotten our popularity up to 36.6, hoping that once we get past 40, maybe some new opportunities will open up for us. Looking at network deals, obviously nothing going on there quite yet. Oh, actually, yeah, nobody is unfortunately still interested in any of our shows. So I'm hoping that maybe when we get to a 40 popularity, perhaps some opportunity for some television exposure may open up. Taking a look at the titles here, Ricky Babylon has made 62 defenses, been the champion for closing in on 3 full years since he was first crowned on March 13th, 2021. 1 defense from the relatively new tag team champions of Keith Yates and Judah Horn. The M&M boys, Marvin McNeil and Josue Melton, did hold the title for 333 days. Looking at the title history, definitely some turnover here. See, Keith Yates and Judah Horn won it recently. Hughes and Cunningham, a number of defenses as we worked on that storyline throughout the summer. They were longtime champions, was vacated after Trace Henson left. Him and Ricky Babylon held the title for a while, vacated after Josue Melton suffered an injury that laid him up, but the M&M boys, as we talked about, were our longest reigning champions. Garrett Carter and Mark Cannon were briefly champions. Mark Cannon no longer with the promotion. Ricky Babylon and Garrett Carter were actually champions for 129 days with a number of defenses before Carter pulled his heel turn and they vacated the title that they had originally won. Women's champion, over 1,000 days for Alani Hernandez, so no turnover in either the men's or women's championship. And the women's tag team championship was held for 1,050 days by Alani Hernandez and Gia Valdez, but it is now in the hands, after that extremely long run, of Isabella Baxter and Emma Banks, the American girls, and we'll see if they can defend it going forward. So a lot to consider, a lot to think about for the new year of 2024. Looking at merchandise, it is all still Ricky Babylon. Nobody else popular enough to be selling much merch at all. Hopefully that will change at some point too. I think as we think about 2024, the goal is going to be to get popularity over 40 as soon as we possibly can and see whether or not that will open up some additional opportunities for us. Until our next episode, when the 2024 year will begin underway, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.